And welcome to our Caffrey Alumni Loughry Food event. Thank you for joining our event. My name is Shane McKinney and I'm the head of food education programs at Caffrey's Loughry Campus. Our event this evening is going to last for approximately 40 minutes. And some housekeeping just before we start. You're not able to unmute yourself and you are not on video, so we cannot see you. You can see us, but we can't see you. Um, Hopefully the technology is working well this evening. If you need any technical assistance, please use the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Submit any query you have as regarding the use of the platform, and Zeta Technical Assistance will get back to you shortly. Just to let you know as well that we're recording the event this evening for those who would like to view the event later on. So let's get started. So our Loughry Food Alumni event, there's 3 points maybe I'd like to talk about first. The events, they should be of interest to, of course, our graduates, those that have completed their course of study at Loughry. They'll be of interest as well, of course, to Loughry staff, those who have worked at the campus or continue to work at the campus. Of course, they'll be of interest as well to our current staff and students, and hopefully as well of interest to the Northern Ireland, the wider food community in the country as well, who are interested in what we're doing in terms of food technology and all of the courses we deliver. We hope that the events will allow you to keep up to date with all of the developments on campus, but also allow you to connect with other alumni. We do hope that this is the first of a series of a number of events. While we're running virtually tonight, taking account of the current circumstances, we do hope in the future that there will be the opportunity for people to meet and connect and re-establish old friendships. And hopefully these events should hopefully allow you to help develop your own career, maybe help your business as well. And of course, the event should help us all to connect and collaborate, work maybe more closely together. We'll be very keen to take your opinions and to take soundings from you, and through that you can inform the future, not only of these events, but what we're actually doing at Loughry Campus as well. And all of this is, of course, will help to keep Loughry at the forefront of food, where of course it should be. So for tonight's event, what's planned? We have 4 speakers this evening. Myself, Shane McKinney, Head of Food Education. Peter Simpson, the Head of Food Technology, will also be speaking tonight. Dr. Gillian Stevenson, our Higher Education Course Director, will deliver a presentation. And Claire Miller, a food technologist on our industry training team, will also be talking about her work. You'll see on the slide the titles of our presentations. So I'm going to be talking about our plans and our exciting plans for the future of Loughry Campus. Peter's going to be talking about man and machine, our work on robotics and automation at Loughry Campus. Gillian's going to be talking about developing our students and looking at the curriculum and how it's changed and developed over the years. And Claire will be talking about developing you, providing up-to-date information on our food industry short courses. We're going to be running some polls in between the presentations as well to gather some information from yourselves about what you'd like to hear about at future events. The polls will be about 1 minute in duration, and I'll talk you through those as we get to them. So to start off, I'm going to talk about Loughry Campus and provide a bit of an update on the development of the campus. You'll see here a fantastic photograph only taken a couple of weeks ago of the campus as it is today. This was the sun rising on an early spring morning with a light frost in the ground and the sun just coming up over Tullyhog. Fond memories, I'm sure, for all of you that have spent some time on our campus. So back where it all started, many of you will know that the lands at Loughry have a very strong association with the Lindsay family name. And the land at Loughry was actually granted to Robert Lindsay in 1611 by James I. The first manor house was built on the present site and was constructed in 1632. And over the years, there have actually been several houses on the same site, previous houses having been destroyed by fire. The current manor house has its origins in a building erected around about 1754, but even that building was subsequently modified and rebuilt in the 1890s following yet another fire. You'll see on the slide here a picture, it's a watercolour actually shared with us by the Lindsay family, and this was painted in 1874 by Elizabeth Lindsay. And you'll note, maybe if you can see the detail, that the building actually has 3 stories, whereas in the picture on the right, you'll see that the current building has 2. The top story was burnt, destroyed, and rebuilt as a 2-story building. In 1908, the land in the house transferred from the ownership of the Lindsays to the Department of Agriculture and seen the first use of Loughry as a site for education as the Ulster Dairy School, with female-only students at that point. In 1949, the site was renamed as Loughry Agricultural College, and male students were accepted from 1962 onwards. During the 70s and 80s, food and agriculture courses ran side by side, with a focus on food really coming into its own during the 90s. And many of you will remember and may have resided in the accommodation block that you can see at the side of Shannon Hall. This picture dates back to the early 60s, we understand. The building certainly served its purpose during that time, but its need over the years dwindled, and in 2019 it was demolished and the site returned to that as pictured on the slide, the picture on the right hand side, which was taken a number of days ago, as Lindsay Manor House as it now stands, and you'll just see in the very corner of that Swift's cottage. So Lindsay Hall and the Manor House as it stands at the moment, it's no longer in day-to-day use by Caffrey, and the department, DAERA, will be looking at options for the future of the building and its repurposing over the next months and years. So food really is in focus. As I said, in the 90s, there really was a transformation on campus with a real sharpening of its focus on food and food technology. The 90s seen the construction of the Food Technology Centre and the Food Business Incubation Centre, which I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. And these 2 buildings have become landmarks in their own rights. The 90s also seen the emergence of our specialism in food packaging, and of course we're now renowned for our expertise and our facilities at the Food Packaging Centre on campus. 2015 seen the opening of our multi-million pound Food Innovation Centre, and many of you may have benefited from its excellent development kitchen, sensory suites, packaging design lab, and of course the teaching and meeting facilities in the building. And this new building has really allowed us to dig deep on food innovation, embedding innovation into our education programs and of course to the support that we provide to the local food industry. It's really clear that throughout Loughry's history, there's always been advances, whether it's a change from Loughry College, as you can see there in the picture of a prospectus from around about 1984, through to Caffrey, as we are today, delivering further and higher education programs, or maybe that changes in the physical buildings and in the footprint of the campus. You can see in the middle of this picture what once was the farm buildings on campus is now the ultra-modern headquarters of the Rivers Agency, a really, really iconic building at the top of the campus and facing directly across to Lindsay Hall, and almost a paradox of design across time. And of course, we've got the repurposed and refurbished old sports hall that is now the modern state-of-the-art sports and recreation and conferencing facility on campus. We're always moving forward at Loughry Campus. But what's next? So what is next? I'm going to provide you with a brief glimpse into the future of Loughry Campus, and I'm going to share with you, or at least try to share with you, a short video, and I really hope you enjoy this. I hope that you were able to enjoy that short video. And if you weren't able to view all of the video, we would hope that we'll be able to replay it at a future event on campus when we can all get together and have that glimpse into the future together. And finally, many of you will have fond memories of this particular character, Mr. Ian Hazard. Ian retired in 2020 and he really did pick his timing perfectly. but he would have loved to have been around for the next phase of Loughry's life. From this photo, you can see that Ian was very keen to get started on the demolition process, but we're just not quite ready yet. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Please do stay with us for the rest of the event, and we're now going to move forward to our polling. So we have 1 minute now for 2 poll questions. So we'd really love you to look at question 1 and question 2. And for question 1, are you, and select from A to D and tick all that apply. And for question 2, please select which decade you first studied or worked at Loughry. And please select from one of those and submit your answer, please, within the 1 minute. There's about 30 seconds left. While we're waiting for that, a bit of trivia for you. Can you remember what stands on top of the entrance pillars at the entrance to Loughry? Yes, 2 blue figures, and one is an upright swan, the other is a griffin, and these represent the insignia from the Lindsay family crest and were installed on site in the mid-1800s. They were known locally as the Duck and the Devil. Now, the poll has ended, so let's see if we can review the results. Don't worry, it takes a few seconds for the results to be compiled and to come through. And in that time, you can try to picture in your mind the picture of the duck and the devil at the entrance to Loughry. So here we are. So we have some really interesting results here. We have got 56% of you are past CAFRE students, which is excellent. And we've got 32% are current staff members. In terms of the decade when you studied or worked, we've got pretty much from the 90s through the noughties and the 2010s. So that's pretty much the predominance. So there'll be another poll after the next event, but now I'm going to hand over to Dr. Gillian Stevenson for her presentation.
Sorry, I've just realised I've been on mute, so I'll start again. Welcome everybody, and it's lovely to see so many past students. I'm sure I'm a familiar face to many of you since I've been in the higher education teaching team since 2000. And during that time, I've seen a lot of new curriculum developments in response to both industry needs and what the current students' interests are. Although many of you might be familiar with some of the main current courses, I just want to update the rest of you on how the courses have progressed over the years, so you maybe can recognise the course names and some of the Loughry graduates coming through. Loughry continues to offer courses from further education right through to master's level, and our further education has had a long-standing involvement in the national diploma programmes in food technology. And these are post GCSE, and they offer a more vocational route than the traditional A level, and for students that have already set their minds and focused on food. We will, going forward, there may be a change in accreditation, but going forward we will still be offering level 3 diplomas in food technology, science and nutrition pathways. In 1997, the BSc honours degrees were first developed at Loughry, and that, I suppose, was really in response to industry requiring skilled food technologists. The first BSc honours was in food technology, and that was closely followed by supply management, which was to develop some of the more business areas. Both of these at this time were validated by Ulster University. Very early in the 2000s, we then moved to Ulster University accreditation, and we saw the introduction of the foundation degree, which was primarily to replace our higher national diploma at that stage. Later, a third BSc Honours degree was added to the suite to complement both the food technology and the food business degrees. It was food design and nutrition, and it was response really to school leavers' interest in nutrition and also new product development and innovation and nutrition driving the food industry at that point. Our current suite at the minute includes 4 full-time programmes. But in addition to these 4 full-time programs, there's another exciting curriculum development, higher level apprenticeships. These are also accredited by Ulster, and they're food and drink apprenticeships, and they are a program which offers earn as you learn, a very attractive and proving more popular to school leavers, where they can work in the food industry and earn and also be awarded a foundation degree at the end of it. So it's for those working already in the industry who maybe have been identified as good progression and wanting to gain more qualifications. By September, we do hope to also offer up to BSc level on the higher level apprenticeships, and we also offer the lower level, level 2 and level 3 apprenticeships at Loughry and food and drink as well. The education journey for many never stops, and there's also postgraduate opportunities, and I know many of you are familiar with the MSc in Business for Agri-Food and Rural Enterprise with Queen's University Belfast. This is maybe more recognisable as the Old Communications course, and it has been renamed now in Business Baffrey. We also offer a postgraduate in Level 5 Packaging Technology. Just on the subject of packaging technology, there is a real need in the industry to develop packaging technologists, and we have the unique packaging facilities at Loughry. There has also been just this year the introduction of a Level 2 award in sustainable packaging technology, and I know Ron there in the picture, our programme manager for the packaging courses, would be only too happy to talk to anybody that would be interested in signing up or developing that area of expertise. At Loughry, the focus always has been in learning by doing. Our courses are primarily designed to allow students to make full use of those excellent practical facilities that Shane has showed you the videos and talked about, whether it's in our science labs doing food microbiology and food chemistry, or whether it is in our food technology centre, where the focus is on the manufacture of the food products. And I'm sure a lot of you still remember making and tasting the famous Loughry ice cream. We also have the brewing practicals and so on there as well. So that still remains a strong focus of our courses. The introduction or the building and the development of the Food Innovation Centre has allowed students to, with the improved sensory and kitchen facilities, it has allowed students to focus on their NPD and their innovation. And our students are remain a big part of the consumer trials. And I'm sure most of you remember that you never go hungry at Loughry with all the consumer trials and taste panels happening. But this high practical content really ensures that our graduates are equipped with knowledge and skills to excel in industry, and it is what we feel really sets you all apart from other institutes. The industry support and the industry links for Loughry courses remains very, very strong, and where we can, we continue to grow this and involve industry maybe in modules. Again, I'm sure a lot of you remember the Moy Park Challenge for the BSc, the degree students, or the Avondale Challenge for the National Diploma. Always a very a firm favourite of students, a firm favourite in the module, highly competitive between teams to win the prize. And we hope that that develops so much more than technical skills, where you get to develop your team building skills and your communication skills. We also like to bring back lots of our graduates. You'll see a picture there with lots of past graduates at our annual careers fair, and our last one, not this year but previously, face-to-face annual careers fair would have had up to 38 industry supporting that. So it's always good to see graduates back at that too. The food industry support is further highlighted through our Loughry bursary programme for the higher education students, and that was first introduced in 2009 and has really gone from strength to strength. And this year we had 17 companies taking part in the bursary programme, and £17,000 was offered out to students, awarded out to students just recently. Some of those bursaries also include placement. So it's a win-win opportunity for both students and the companies to get some PR, but also the students really, really appreciate the financial support and placement opportunities that go with those bursaries. So if anyone is interested in getting their company name on the board, please get in contact with us, because we're always welcome new bursary opportunities. I suppose what this means to Loughry is that we continue to benefit from really, really high success rates, excellent student satisfaction rates, but more importantly, and what we're really trying to do, is that our graduate employment rates remain at 95%. And we believe it's because our courses have been designed to fully equip the graduates with skills to meet industry needs and to excel in the industry. So we hope that the new curriculum developments that are on board, coming on board, will further strengthen our programmes and the success rates continue. Thank you. I'm just going to hand over to Peter, who's going to do the next poll.
Okay. So good evening, everybody. It's great to see a lot of very familiar names on our attendee list this evening. So we're just going to launch another poll, if you wouldn't mind completing it. As Shane says, all this information will be really useful to us as to know how to take the alumni forward. So give you 1 minute to answer a couple of questions. I'd like to know how you keep up to date with us, what methods you use, and we'd like to know then how you would like to take the alumni forward as well. So I don't have any anecdotes like Shane has, any teasers. I could talk about some of the people on the list, but I'll maybe not. I'll keep those stories to myself. And that's just the ex-Loughry staff. Okay, just a few seconds to process our questions. This will give us an indication of how well our social media is reaching out to you all. Okay, a good selection of methods there, and a good range of ideas for how we take this forward. So thank you very much for that information, folks, and we'll definitely take it on board. I'm just going to hand over now to my colleague, Claire Miller, who's going to talk a little bit about what we're doing at the moment in industry training.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Peter, for the introduction. I normally would say, hello, nice to see you, good evening, with all those lovely smiling faces, but alas, I'm looking at a screen with my co-presenter. So good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me. So, food industry training and capability development. My name is Claire Miller, and some of you may recognise me, obviously, as Claire Abraham. I'm a member of the food industry training team at Loughry Campus. No doubt I have met a lot of you over the years, because I've realised I've worked at Loughry for quite a long time, longer than I care to remember. This evening, I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we at Loughry currently offer in terms of further developing you. I have been told it's not for mana time, so I promise I will keep it brief. Sorry, I just can't get it to. Okay. As you know, it's a very fast-paced world we live in, and the food manufacturing industry is at the forefront of this. We all face many demands from customers, both external and internal, and we all need to keep up to date in our chosen occupations. And this is where our short course provision at Loughry fits in. As the slide says, just like food nourishes our bodies, information and continued learning nourishes our minds. When you walked across that stage on graduation day, how many of you said or thought, right, that's it, no more studying ever, I'm going to burn those books, that's it, that finishes me. As I'm sure you now appreciate, that possibly was quite a naive opinion. Our short courses are are industry focused. They meet industry and customer demands, and they aim to improve your capabilities and skills. So who are we? And I think you'll probably recognise most of these faces. The core team of the food industry training are Catherine Devlin, Senior Food Technologist, Leona Hawkes, myself, and we've recently been joined by Lorraine McKnight. As I said, I suspect you'll recognise most of the team. We are possibly the first team you may come in contact with when you return to Loughry after graduating. Some of you come back and maybe complete higher level food safety or HACCP programs, and others maybe come along and do auditing programs as they're now maybe in a new technical role within their job. So what do we currently offer? Just to say, most of the courses the core team, like myself, Leona, Lorraine and Catherine, offer are accredited courses. And that really means we work with organisations such as Royal Society for Public Health, High Field Qualifications and the Food and Drink Qualifications. So what these provide are then accredited courses that satisfy probably your customers in the food industry. So as you probably know, we provide our training for food safety at level 2, level 3, level 4, formerly known as the old basic, intermediate and advanced food hygiene. We also offer level 2, level 3 and level 4 in HACCP for food manufacturing. Auditing and inspection skills level 3, which no surprises is one of our probably most popular courses at the moment. We offer allergens at level 2 and delivering training at level 3. We also offer some refresher training in HACCP and food safety, and that would be like a Loughry certificate in terms of that. What's new then, I suppose, in terms of 2020 and 2021? Well, as we all know, there's been no year that we can ever remember like 2020. So like everyone, the teams at Loughry have adapted and we've embraced new technologies. So as part of this, and I suppose it's fair to say, we are the core training team at Loughry in terms of the food technology branch. We also have our sector teams. They also deliver training, and this is just a flavour of some of the training they have delivered now recently. They deliver sensory training, so if you're in a food company, it can be bespoke to your company. We have delivered TACCP, FACCP and root cause analysis webinars. So they were particularly popular, obviously, during the pandemic because we could deliver via webinar. An entire suite of food technology courses, meat technology, dairy technology, microbiology, brewing technology, innovation, to name but a few. Peter's going to speak about new technologies in terms of automation and robotics for food processing. And my colleagues in the training team have also been delivering meat inspection qualifications, partnering with our veterinary colleagues. All our core courses on the previous slide are now available as flexible online learning packages, and I have to say they have been very popular. Candidates can complete the courses at their own pace. However, we in the training team are eagerly awaiting a time that we can resume to face-to-face training, hopefully sometime in the future. So if you're curious about the courses, we kind of think where and when. So there's two main ways. In normal circumstances, scheduled courses at Loughry Campus approximately twice a year. And as I previously mentioned, currently these courses are offered online, again twice a year or more if demand exists. Or secondly, specific courses set up for your organisation delivered at your food premises at an agreed location. Again, this provision is currently online. Some companies obviously have a number of people that need trained at one time, and therefore it's deemed more cost effective for us to provide a course specifically for them. We feel that our current online provision has enabled short courses to continue throughout the pandemic, because as we all know, customer requirements in terms of skill and knowledge development still need to be met. The enhanced emphasis on food safety culture can also be demonstrated by continued commitment to developing people. So whether you are an individual wanting to upskill or refresh your train, or whether you're representing a company and want to organise some training, then please feel free to contact us and discuss your training requirements. Thank you for listening. I hope I have either introduced you to the range of courses that we deliver or updated you in terms of our food industry provision at Loughry Campus, food industry training provision at Loughry Campus. To ensure maybe you don't miss out on future training dates or new training opportunities, please keep in touch by following Discover CAFRE on all our social media channels. We have presence on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn. You can also find full details of all our course details and, importantly, our contact details on the CAFRE website. Thank you, and I'm now going to pass back to Shane.
Claire, thanks very much for a really, really informative presentation, and thanks also to Gillian for hers. So it's really, really clear that there's a tremendous amount of work going on at Loughry Campus in terms of the provision of our education programs to our student body, but also, of course, really relevant, up-to-date, specific industry training programs to support the local food industry. So fantastic work going on there. We're now going to move on to our third and final poll of this evening with questions 5 and 6. We have 1 minute again, 2 questions, so please tick all that apply for the first one and then select one off the bottom. So which specific topics would most interest you? So please select from the range there. And then we'd also be interested to know when and where you would like to access alumni events. So maybe this kind of event would work well for you, or maybe something that's more blended is the kind of the word of today's culture. A mixture of online and on campus might maybe suit as well. So make your selections. Another bit of trivia for all of you out there. Peter loves a wee bit of trivia, so I have to keep him happy. So did you know there are 1,700 students enrolled in our education programs at CAFRE across our agriculture, equine, hort and food disciplines? 400 of those are on our food courses, but maybe some of our earliest learners, I don't know if we could count them learners, go back to about 2,500 BC. You may know that we have the Giant's Grave on Loughry Campus, and that dates back to New Stone Age, maybe the Bronze Age. So I don't think that we're maybe there. We can't count them, you know, maybe as CAFRE students, but it's good to know that there were maybe some people working on food way back 2,500 years, more, 4,500 years ago. And we're now continuing that. So some fantastic results from the poll here. It's really clear that, oh, wow, right across legislation, food safety, product innovation, food processing and training and robotics are some of the areas that you'd really like to find out more about. So we'll really take that on board. A mixture of online and physical is probably something that most people will prefer as well. So we'll take that on board as well. So thanks very much for your patience with the polling. We've gathered some really, really useful information this evening. I'm now going to hand over to Peter Simpson. Peter's the head of Food Technology Branch at Loughry Campus, and Peter's going to talk to us about robotics and automation. So over to you, Peter.
And unfortunately, we're coming almost to the end of our session today, but I have a couple of things I would like you to do for us. I've worked at Loughry for 24 years, and I realise that there's something very special about driving through those blue gates, past the two creatures that Shane's told us about on the pillars. And I guess that's probably what's brought you to this event in the first place. But what we want to do next with the alumni will be very much guided by you. So as my colleagues close this presentation in a moment, there'll be a final survey, a final little poll, where there'll be a couple of questions. There's an opportunity for a little bit of free text if you have any suggestions. Also importantly, we'd like to have your consent to share future information about the alumni. We promise not to share it with any of our preferred partners, but we would really like to be able to contact you to let you know about future alumni events, because previous polls here have indicated that you would be very much interested in doing that. So if you wouldn't mind, in a moment, my colleague Zita McNair will close the event and we'll do the poll. Just before I finish up, I would like to thank Zita McNair, one of our staff here, who has very helpfully organised all the IT that's helped run this event. In the background as well, we have a little alumni team, which consists of Hayley O'Neill, Adele Dallas, Laura Brown and Valerie Finlay, and we really appreciate their efforts in helping us over the last few weeks. It's no coincidence that all of those people are all CAFRE alumni, all former CAFRE students, with that can-do attitude that we're so famous for. So it just remains for me to wish you a very pleasant evening, and as Zita closes the event, if you wouldn't mind filling in the poll, and we'll be in touch with you soon to announce the next alumni event. Thank you.